What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Reality Kingdom, where we put the real in reality or whatever. Period. I'm your host, Pharaoh. We're joined by our wonderful host, Lee. Lee, how are you feeling about this week? Week 5.
Ooh, this was a good week. 3. This was some top tier Big Brother this week. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun watching the arguments, watching the developments in the game. I mean, once again, we're really just seeing Mother Lisa's winner arc come to fruition. Like, I'm already seeing how she wins this game. So I'm excited.
Me too. So,
okay.
Yeah, I love this week. I really did. Excited. I really did. I really do love the Lisa Mother T, because there's not many women winners. There's only like damn near a handful. So when I can see the ones that actually did good, and it's no shade to the ones who, I didn't necessarily think ate it up. So seeing Lisa actually eat it up, it's like, okay, wait, like, get your crown, queen. So we started off this week, and Alessandro is spilling in the chat with Kiara winning HOH. Shout out to Kiara.
Not Kiara, a flop. Yeah, no. This is a terrible HOH for Kiara. I really wish they just kind of gave the cherry on top and took out her man. Like, by the end of this week, I was so disappointed that they didn't evict Roddy. Honestly, like, I was already thinking, okay, Roddy goes this week. They ate her up, and then he doesn't go home. I was just like, they really should have took the opportunity. I mean, I guess for some it don't matter. I mean, because everyone who was controlling the vote still remains like the top 5 of this game. But it's just like, But I'm really excited because it was a lot of riffraff going on. And with this week, Amy coming back in, it's like, okay, I can definitely see how the big 5 is the last 5 standing in this house. Because basically, they just eat it up from here.
Yep. Very exciting to see. I'm here for it. So Kiara wins HOH.
Oh my God.
She wait, I think I like this HOH comp. What was this HOH comp?
Rollerball.
Oh, never mind. Oh, we talked about it on the last episode. So I do like that comp, but I already talked about it. So she wins the HOH, and then we quickly see people talk about this last vote, because this last vote was a tie. 3 people evicted Lisa, 3 people had evicted Eric, and we see Danny and Lisa. Well, first Danny and Kiara have a conversation. And Danny gags her because Danny's like,
Danny is so sick.
I just want to say thank you so much for agreeing to vote with us and changing your mind and voting with us. And the whole time Danny knows Kiara did not vote with them at all. And Kiara's like, oh, thank you. I'm so glad I changed my mind and you helped me do it. And she gave her a big hug. And Danny was like, this girl just lied in my motherfucking face.
Like, and then that literally is what sinks her game from there. Because it's like, you could have at least been honest and open about it. Like, the fact that you're then going to lie about it, and then it comes out later in the week, so she has to turn around and change her story 2-3 more times. It's like, girl, you should have just told the truth. Well, you should have evicted Lisa in the first fucking place. Dumb. And I also feel like that's why this week was so bad for her, because she was acting on a guilty conscience almost. Like, she wasn't really going based on what was best for her game. It was more so just like, okay, let me get back in good with the people that I screwed over.
Yep, exactly. That was her problem. Her number one problem was she shouldn't have voted to evict Lisa. Like, I was literally thinking about this week, and I was like, who should she have nominated? Because she genuinely does seemingly have great relationships with Danny, Marcellas, and then with Jason. Her and Roddy have a final 3 with him. So it's like, in my mind, I mean, I don't think she should have just nominated Danny and Marcellas, but if you are working so closely with them, it's like you damn near should have just voted with them. But it's hard because in reality, Kiara had a monster social game. She was working with everybody. So it's like she really had to choose a side. And in the moment, she chose the wrong side. And I felt like it was
clearly the wrong side.
She chose Roddy. She didn't even choose
it's so crazy because this week she tries to push that, like, oh, it was Josh telling me that Lisa was going against me that made me want to change my mind. Girl, be fucking for real. You didn't believe fucking Josh. And Lisa even tells her that. You mean to tell me that you believe Josh, of all people, that I was coming for you?
Like,
and
what?
She didn't fucking believe that shit. It wasn't until the conversation she had with Roddy where he said, bitch, you're keeping Eric. And she said, okay.
Yep.
And you know what? I never even liked Lisa, actually.
Like, what? Ciao. So, Danny plays in Kiara's face, and Danny knows that Kiara's lying to her. And that's what's helping sink her game. Obviously, she made a terrible decision, but if she would have made that terrible decision and then she won HOH and immediately went to Danny and Lisa, who was her little girls alliance that they had, if she pulled them in the room and was like, look, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be dead ass real. I don't want to lie to you girls. I love you so much and I don't want to lie anymore. I voted out Lisa. It was a stupid decision. Roddy had convinced me. Josh was telling me lies. It was a lot going on. I was so scared. And I thought you were going home. It was just a lie. But at the end of the day, I'm rocking with y'all. I don't care. All of that. Not that it would have just saved her game tremendously, but a conversation like that, instead of lying to them all week, then Lisa and Danny would be like, okay,
we can still work around.
Maybe Gerry can go next week. Maybe so-and-so can go next week. Well, now it's like Chiara and Roddy got to go next, period.
Literally. Or maybe Chiara even first. Like, they're pissed at that girl. Like, and Danielle has this hilarious thing that I've noticed, especially reading these archives. She called everybody Satan or the devil. So now this week, Chiara is the devil and she has to go. But Chiara literally put herself in that position. You're lying to them. You voted out your closest ally. How are we supposed to see you anything other than a snake at this point?
Then a lie.
And so literally throughout the entire week, like the other side is plotting on how they cannot trust Chiara anymore. And she was not in that position before this week. Literally, she just voted correctly. She would have been in better with them than even Lisa, because Lisa never even spoke to them. And that's another thing that we noticed this week is that Lisa has shifted all focus to Danielle and Marcellas, specifically Danielle. Mm-hmm. Like, as far as the feed archives, like, it was a lot of her and Eric in bed together talking. Now that Eric is gone and Chiara flipped, it's always Lisa talking with Danielle and Marcellas damn near about game all of the time.
All the time.
So she has fully severed any ties. Chiara has severed any ties that she could have with that side, and Lisa picked them on up.
Yep. Basically replaced her and ate it up because Chiara was really good with them. It just whole game just shifted a whole full 180.
And she did it. And she did all herself.
Did it to herself. And then you chose Roddy's side, and now you want to nominate him, girl. So
the two people she chose, she put on the block.
Literally, the two people she voted with, and that's the problem. You should have never voted with them because clearly you didn't care.
And that's why I'm saying, like, Josh. And she kind of mentions it in one of these episodes too, that, you know, selfishly, I feel like nominating Roddy is going to separate myself from him. Girl, please.
You should have been on that type of time last week, and you shouldn't have voted with him. Dumb. But anyways, before she nominates, Danny does let Lisa know that Chiara was playing in her face. And she tells Lisa that Chiara did not vote with you. Marcellas comes in and backs up the story, like backs it up that Chiara was not voting with you. And this is what really starts the Danny, Lisa, and Chiara. Not Chiara. Danny, Lisa, and Marcellas constantly talking game. And notice I'm not saying somebody else's name, and it's no shade, but where's Jason?
Where's Jason? Where's Jason, baby?
And it's like, I hate, a part of me, I love getting this information, obviously, but a part of me hates getting like all of this new information, this live feed information, because it's like, my whole world has changed. This whole time I'm thinking, Jason and Danielle ate this season up. They're the top two players of the season. Is no question in it. Lisa might be third. We don't know. But now that I'm watching, Marcellas has constantly been strategizing, coming up with new plans, and convincing Danny to do things, or helping her decide to do things, or etc.
Yeah,
and Jason,
convincing was crazy.
Jason, well,
what has he convinced Danny to do?
He hasn't convinced her, but she
okay. Keep it. Words matter. Words matter.
Hold on now.
Words matter.
Hold on.
Words matter.
Hold on now. Because she really does want Roddy to go, and he's one of the ones who don't really want that to happen this week. And we know what happens this week is more so with Marcellas on it rather than more so with that. Yes.
He started off unsure. He became very sure, like he said in the episode, as long as they get the votes. It was Lisa.
And then he became unsure again.
Well, no, not from the archives I'm reading. But
he became unsure again. Him and Gerry went to Danny.
When?
Him and Gerry went to Danny.
I've read further than you, baby.
And what happened at the end? So he was unsure.
I didn't get towards the end, but I'm talking about what I'm reading.
So there was times he was unsure. There was times he was sure. I'm saying Danny always wanted Roddy to go. So my point is, Danny wanted Roddy to go. Sometimes
Marcellas ain't convinced her to do otherwise.
But hey, who got what they
wanted?
Words
more? Matter.
Who got what they wanted?
Well, I'm reading several conversations of Marcellas saying he wants Roddy out.
And also conversations of him saying he doesn't want Roddy out.
That was in the
that
beginning.
I've
I haven't had
read.
any that you read. I read days after you.
It doesn't matter. There's been conversations that Marcellas said we
But you
shouldn't take
said
out Roddy.
Marcellas convinced Danny. Like I said,
I
words
understand.
matter.
I
That's
understand.
the statement you said. And you were
Period.
wrong.
Period. So there's times that Danny wants things and Marcellas wants other things, and the things that Marcellas wants happens sometimes. And that's okay. The point is that Marcellas is way more in the conversations than
literally
like Jason.
like watching this, like
Jason's
Jason
nowhere to be
and
found.
Danielle, they're not really in tandem anymore. It was definitely in those earlier weeks when Danielle was not in the alliance and Jason was more of an affiliate. Like, he did bring her information, but it was kind of information that she had already known. It's very similar to, I feel like, the Cerie and Gerry relationship in BB25, where, like, in the beginning, he was kind of more in the group, so he was bringing her what the majority alliance is doing. But then by the end of week 1, I mean, she had already taken over the game. And I feel like Danielle kind of has the same path of, we're like, yeah, she kind of needed Jason in the beginning to, like, feed her this tea, but it wasn't relevant by, like, week 3 anymore necessarily. And since then, I feel like Jason has taken a huge backseat in the game. I mean, like, even throughout this week, he doesn't even want to entertain evicting Roddy, to the fact that he told them, like, whatever y'all do, leave me out of it. And so, like, literally even reading about the vote wavering, he's not in any of those conversations. It's been Marcellas, Lisa, and Danny this whole week. But as far as, like, the strategy and talking about who they're going to target, of course, Jason has these conversations every once in a while. He checks in with them. But as far as, like, I feel like really putting an effort necessarily, I'm not seeing that from Jason. Like, I thought it was going to be this thing of, like, oh, Jason gets in good with these people, and he always is just bringing them information. Like, it's really not like that at all. And like I said, though, it's really, that's the storyline that they want to push, because even throughout these episodes with this week, we saw them mention that again. That's always something that they go back to. I think it's a great story. These two people who came together on the first day, they're loyal to the end. Because at the end of the day, regardless of how much work he's putting in, they are loyal to each other. The goal is for both of them to be in Final 2. And that is a great story. But when you're actually looking at, like, who's doing what, Jason is not in a lot of these main conversations. He's not. Because, I mean, even this week, he was getting a little backlash from evicting Eric, because Chiara and Roddy felt like they were not sure if they can trust him anymore, because he told them he was voting one way and then he voted the other. Now, because I feel like he's seen as such a innocent person in the house, he was able to really get back on their good side. And I feel like that is good work I enjoy from Jason, because when Chiara approached him this week about him voting the other way, he basically said, I felt like a fifth wheel to the Showman's Alliance, and I just wasn't sure, but I'm still loyal to you guys. And Roddy and Chiara basically believe that, and they still feel like they have Jason under their wing. But in general, like, Jason isn't doing much with that relationship, because he's always going to choose Danny at the end of the day. And as far as, like I said, bringing information from them to Danny, he's not doing that, because honestly, he's not in any real conversations with them either. It's very surface level strategy. So yeah, honestly, it's kind of gagging me that I'm not seeing too much. Like, I think he's intelligent as a person, but I'm not seeing much of the playing yet.
Yeah, I feel like it's the activeness part. You kind of mentioned it. It's like he's just not that active as I thought he would be. He's more so just letting the game, positioning himself well, and then moving forward from the position that he's in, which is good. But it's like when it comes to actively doing things and actively creating plans, or even being a part of the plans that are created, he's just not really involved. I do like when he did talk to Chiara, and then he also ended up talking to Roddy about the vote and why he didn't vote with them. He did a really good job at, like, convincing them. And he also mentioned, like, Roddy was getting close to Josh as well, and he was afraid of that as well. So he was really explaining things, and he kind of pushed it on Josh, and in a way that could have helped Chiara feel comfortable taking out Josh. But it's like, it's very little whenever he does do active things. I just think when he does do them, they're good and it works. And also his, like, persona is, like, helping him get further in the game with that as well. So it's like, we'll get into it later. We'll see what more comes. But I was telling Lee, I was like, it kind of just reminds me of, like, and it's no shade, but me personally, I'm not gagged by Tyler Crispin like that. But it reminds me a little bit of a Tyler, or just like the same kind of archetype where their personality, or just who they are as people, is helping them in the social game a lot. And it's like, it's not necessarily them always being this great player. We even saw it last season with Hardy, we could say. Like, a lot of Hardy's pros at the beginning of the game was everyone loved him, but he wasn't being nice. And Jason is being nice, and he is playing up to that. But it's like, a lot of it is just natural, because the reason they want to trust Jason is because they underestimate him because he's a Christian, and he's a virgin. And it's like, all of these things that just are who he is helping them, kind of underestimate him. And it's a little bit just his personality. And then he is smart on top of that. So it's like, I've just seen that archetype here and there. And it's like, sometimes with them, they don't have to be as active. And I think that's why Jason still makes it very far. Yeah. But I don't know. He's an interesting player for sure.
I think he definitely has an intellect higher than most people in this era playing, which I really do enjoy. But it's really just the activeness, honestly. It's not much. I thought he was on the same type of timing as Danny, and it's really not giving that.
Yes. So Chiara decides that she has this idea. And the idea is to nom Roddy as a pawn. And she talks to Roddy about it. And Roddy, in the past, has apparently mentioned this or said something like that, or threw it out in the air that he could potentially be a good pawn. And Chiara's basically like, I do think you could be a good pawn, because you could get everybody to vote you to stay. And I know, you might have to vote Josh to stay, and we can nip that in the bud. I could just nominate you next to Josh. Roddy don't want to do it, but I felt like Roddy didn't stand on business.
He didn't
at all. And I didn't like that, because it's like, he was saying, well, what if we and whoop the whoop? And it's like, in my mind, you run her. So it's like, if you would have just said you're not doing that, look, that would have been it.
As evidenced by last week, like, he runs this girl to the ground. So it was very weird, especially in the archives watching it, because she brought it up, and he initially is like, you came up with that on your own? Like, you didn't run that by me first? But he didn't really fight back. You kind of saw it in the episodes, but even more in the archives. Like, he's having a lot of other side conversations with other people about it, and he's hinting that he doesn't like it, but he's not telling her, I don't want to go up, do not put me up. Instead, he kind of uses that opportunity to solidify with other people that he won't be evicted. And of course, they all make that deal. It sucks that they stood by it. But I didn't love this move at all, because I think I like Roddy as a player, especially for these early days of Big Brother. He really seems to understand the game. But this move here was oof, because like you just said, like, he can run her, and I feel like he really should have took this opportunity to get what he wanted, which is Marcellas, or not even what he wanted, because he doesn't want Marcellas or Danny out. And that's the problem with Roddy at this point. Yeah, he doesn't necessarily want to target anybody.
Yeah, he doesn't have
any. He needs that line up target, and he hasn't been doing that. After taking out Amy, he wants to kind of play this behind the scenes role, but you're such a huge target, and he's not doing anything to mitigate that target or get out those people who are targeting him. Because he speaks about being slightly weary of Danielle and Marcellas, but when it comes to targeting them, he doesn't want to do it. And he feels like he has Jason. He said on the archives recently that he wants to keep Gerry in the game even past this week. So it's like, so who do you want out?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
We said that on his HOH week, he isn't really setting up any future plans on who should be targeted. And that's his main problem. It's interesting because I feel like he's a player, if it was a newer season, that he would have been setting up different people to be targeted after this. He would have learned a lot from Big Brother. But I think just playing on BB3, it's affecting him particularly because he's not doing that. Make a new target. If you're at the head of the game, you can easily just make somebody else this next big house target and push your influence. He's not doing any of those things. He's really not pushing any of his influence other than trying to get Eric to stay, which he failed at. And he only really tried to convince Chiara of that. Other than that, he hasn't really created a new target. He hasn't created a target, period, because Amy wasn't even created by him. People just didn't like her. And then this week, he didn't put his foot down and make sure Chiara nominated who he wanted. He could have got exactly who he wanted nominated, whoever he conjured up with nominated.
Especially, too, how the target initially even gets on Josh this week is kind of because of Roddy. Because Josh, Josh, child. He gets active immediately. He felt safe because Chiara was HOH, so he was running around doing his dealings already. He said he caught Marcellas and Jason shaking hands. So, of course, in his mind, that means they're a final two. They have a deal. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So he runs and tells this to Roddy, and Roddy is immediately like, well, no. And then he goes and he tells Marcellas, Chiara, and I believe Danny was in that conversation as well. But basically, they all decided from that, well, he's a liar. He's starting shit already, and he needs to go the fuck home. And from Roddy's perspective, you just did all of this work to want to keep Jason in the game, and keep Josh in the game, and keep Gerry. So now you're putting this target on his back, and then you're letting your showman take him out while also nominating you next to him. Like, Josh should not have went home this week for Roddy, and he didn't do anything to stop him from going home or himself from being nominated. He even kind of helped it by sharing that information. Like, I would assume maybe Roddy just got frustrated, because I feel like another thing that I have to give grace to is these players allowing emotions to just come into their decisions. I feel like, I don't know, it's weird because we're all emotional people, we're human, so I shouldn't expect this, but personally, I expect people playing 20-something years in the future to not let their emotions affect them that much. Like, you should know that you cannot allow your emotions to fuck you in this game, because it will send you home. But in these earlier weeks, I understand, okay, you maybe just be frustrated with somebody. And so I'm assuming maybe Roddy was just tired of the bullshit. Like, damn, every day you telling me something new. Like, I don't care. Because Roddy doesn't necessarily like him either. He just wants to use him. But still, strategically, it would be best to keep Josh in the game. And he really didn't do anything to help that.
At all. He just heard it. And that's the issue. I really just didn't like Chiara's plan. This plan that she has is stupid to begin with, and Roddy just didn't do anything to disregard it, like to change her mind, and I don't like any of that. But she ends up nominating Josh and Roddy. And before the nominations, her and Lisa had a few chats about how about really the vote and what happened last week, because Chiara's still lying to Lisa before the nomination. She's telling Lisa that she, of course, voted to keep her. And she's like, I just heard all of this information from Josh. So that's why I was distant from you last week, because she was distant from her last week, wasn't talking to her. And she's just like, oh, you know, I heard a lot of information from Josh. So that's why I was acting that way. But now I'm going to take him out, and you can call him out afterwards, and woo.
Like, really, it's guilty conscience. It is hilarious. It's so hilarious that everyone knows. Everyone knows. So it's like, you look stupid. It's just stupid as hell. And then you're lying to our faces while also hoping that we keep your man in the game. So at this point, this is really when Danielle, specifically Danielle, she has been having it out for Roddy. But even now, Lisa and Marcellas, they're all contemplating, like, well, we can just send this nigga home.
Yep, very much so. And they could have.
They should have.
And they could have.
And that's the thing. We definitely break down why it didn't happen. Because I thought it was more of a group thing. But of course, like, first of all, they all gave their word. And Jason was like, well, I gave my word. I don't want to even discuss it. Y'all do what y'all want. Which, props to Jason. Me and Pharaoh talked about this a little bit. Like, I don't think his intention was so that he can stay in allegiance with Chiara and Roddy. But it still has that positive effect by him not voting against them again twice in a row. It is going to keep them loyal to him, at least. And I feel like a part of him realizes that.
Yeah.
Even if he's not saying that, because he's not doing anything this goddamn week. He didn't even have any PR, now I think about it. And then, so Danielle, of course, was the main person to want it. She went to Marcellas first. And Marcellas, at first, like Pharaoh mentioned, was not against it. He was like, no, we shouldn't do it. Like, I don't see how that's going to work. And she was like, really? Ugh. She spoke to Lisa. Lisa was semi down.
Yeah, because they knew they weren't going to have Jason's vote. So they're trying to figure out, if we do it, who vote we going to get. Exactly. So that's when they started speaking to Lisa.
And that was Marcella's main thing. He initially was like, we can't get nobody. Like, Jason's not going to do it. Gerry's not going to do it. She spoke to Lisa. Lisa seemed kind of down. She spoke to Gerry. Gerry seemed kind of down. And from what I've read so far, that essentially Lisa shoots it down, because Lisa mentions that she doesn't want Chiara to end up aligning with Josh if we take out Roddy. And Gerry, he just kind of felt like he didn't want to break his word really either. Like, it's not the right time. We should not make too many waves. Let's just send Josh home. And because that's Josh fucking.
And then Josh, I was just going to say the reason this doesn't work, because while all of this is happening, Josh is also campaigning, and his campaign isn't terrible, because he's talking to Danny and exposing the cartel alliance. He's talking about how you can ask Gerry. Gerry was in it. It was all of us with the showmances, and Lisa is going to link back up with Roddy and Chiara if we keep Roddy in this game. He's done, and then he did so much more, but we'll kind of get into that. So it's like he's done campaigning, and they're trying to flip flop. So it's like, ideally, this is the perfect storm for them to flip and actually take out Roddy. It's just Josh has done so much terrible work. Yeah. So it's like Josh has done so much terrible work, and Roddy honestly has done good work by making them swear to save him. It's really making it hard for them to just do it so easily. If they didn't swear, I feel like it wouldn't have been this hard. Like Gerry wouldn't have had anything to say as a reason. So it's like Roddy did good work, and Josh has done so much bad work that it really ended up to where it's like, well, we're just gonna go with not doing it, especially if they get any pushback for someone who's gonna be a part of the plan. So it's like, and I do think Lisa ate that up, because this is, in my opinion, the best for Lisa for Josh to go, because Josh was after her ass. He wasn't after these other people. So yeah.
And and that's what it comes down to. Like, the fact that you've pissed these people off, like literally they're saying in the house, I don't want to live with Josh for a few more days, because Josh at his core is honestly just an emotional player, like very much so. So as soon as he's nominated, he's hurt. He's running. He's getting packed. He's like, I'm going home. I'm walking out. I don't want to be here anymore. And he's calling Roddy out. We see this in episodes. He called Roddy out because he's like, you were in on it. You knew before I knew it. You just did this to secure votes. And Roddy lying in his face.
Let's get into that, because that was like right after the nominations. So right after the nominations, in the speech, Chiara exposes that, Josh, you lied to me about Lisa, and you was trying to flip me on her, and we caught your ass. After that, Lisa was now allowed to call Josh out about it. So she go in the back room, she calls Josh out about it, and basically she's like, so what was that was said? And Lisa was killing it this week.
What she say that GIF? The Princess of Darkness.
The Princess of Darkness has been awoken.
The mother. That's the thing. They ain't had that purpose back then. The mother of darkness.
Clock it. Okay. Clock it. No, she ate him up. So she called him out. She was like, what was that was said? Da, 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 da. He didn't really have nothing to say at that moment. Then she went back to her room with Danny. And as she did that, Josh walks out and he calls out Roddy. And he's like, you got them walking around thinking I flipped Chiara when you know damn well it was you that flipped Chiara and had you, and you was the reason she was on her out. And it's like, that is tea.
Exposed to that tea. And I know Chiara, I know her heart fell to her asshole when he said that. Girl, not you clocking my tea.
Girl, he had it so clocked. Real nasty. He said, you know damn well you had one conversation with her and flipped her then. And it's like, ooh, Josh.
That is literally what happened. And like I said, Josh, because he's so emotional, he's reactive. Like, this was all reactive. What he says be tea sometimes. He be spilling. Because even throughout this week, his main campaign is that Roddy would win. And Roddy probably would win if he made the phone, too. So it's like, you kind of got to listen to some of the shit he be saying sometimes, because he literally, she already knew. But imagine she didn't know. That's the tea of the week.
And Chiara, this is the first time Chiara now knows that Lisa knows, because this whole time Chiara's thinking Lisa don't know. Just stupid. What I will say about Josh, other than him being a terrible, horrible person, when it comes to just what's happening in the game, he would be a great villain. Like, if someone like him in a modern season could come back, I would low-key like that. Like, I love a good messy ass, I'ma tell people business ass villain nowadays. And we don't get a lot of good villains no more. We get terrible people. And he's a terrible person.
He's a terrible person.
That's the issue. I just want to go.
I like his activeness in the game. I love that he's in it. And like, this week was honestly, a lot of it was really, really good because of him. Because he's so active. And I think that he also jump-started this game into momentum. It was very slow. And then he came in and like was just everywhere. So I mean, I like him for what he provided in that factor, but overall, terrible.
Why are all villains terrible fucking people? Because I'm like, hey, I know, but it's like, I just want a game villain, because I'm like, okay, who could have been a good villain on recent seasons? And I thought of BB24, and I was like, ooh, Paloma would have been a good villain. And then I'm like, that's a terrible ass human for no reason. And I was like, okay, BB23, who could have been a good villain? I was like, oh, maybe Frenchie, but Frenchie got weird. It's like, and we ain't never going.
They're not rootable. They're not.
And then I thought Kylan was a good villain towards that end game. I wish he would have like kind of did pick that up a little earlier on, because
he didn't want to be a villain.
And that was his problem. You need to be who you are. Kylan is a villain, and I think Kylan.
So when did he give that tease on challenge?
Ooh, that's an interesting idea, because I love villain Kylan. What I love about Kylan as a villain, he doesn't get well, he is a little weird, but he doesn't get a terrible person yet. I haven't seen that, so I really like that. He just gives weird because why are you bringing up people nephews?
That was a crazy
God, but still, I love a good villain. I love it. Sarah Beth Ice Queen. That's not no villain. Sarah Beth is just
Sarah Beth. Honestly, I live for Sarah Beth's little villain arc.
I did like that, but she just. I need
row your boat.
That was so weird. That was creepy. I was confused when she was doing that. I was like, "What are you doing?" Because she was just laying in the bed in the room alone, and then she started singing. I was like,
that was so cut. That was so cut.
That was frightening.
She pushed me down and took my stand card with that one. She did.
But
yeah, this is a good fight, and it's clock it, G-Woo, clock it. Because she said, I keep my mouth closed and my eyes open. So I know way more in this game. Do you think I do?
She said, you're juggling, baby, and you're dropping your balls. Lisa was killing it.
But I love that quote because Danielle literally had just said that in the room to her.
Girl.
Just said that. So already very much giving like, okay. Like this. You know who you're, the teacher. Danielle's a teacher and Lisa's the student. And I compared it to I make so many recent comparisons, but this season we've been covering, y'all. But I see it as like that Tiffany Hannah relationship almost a little bit where it's like, I'm gonna take you under my wing. I'm gonna tell you information about the guy, because she's already so intellectual, but she just wasn't involved in it. So now that she kind of got thrown into it by her alliance turning on her like that, she is really in it. And I think that they create this relationship over these next few weeks that makes Danielle feel like, I want this to be on the end game with us. Because we just said it, she's not talking to Jason that much. She's loyal to Jason. I think she stands by her word, so that's not changing. But as far as like everyday conversation, especially about the game, that's not with Jason. That's with Marcellas, and that's with Lisa. So I definitely get it.
Yeah. And I think it was just a perfect storm with Lisa because she was already on her own gonna start playing the game. She had a diary room about it, and she was like, now that Eric's gone. No, this was last week. She said, if Eric leaves, my heart leaves with him. So I'm going to be a totally different person in this game. So she was already planning on growing as a player. And then with the storm of Danny coming in and taking her under her wing, it's like, you just created the baddest bitch in the house by accident. Like, it's damn near like Frankenstein. Like, you did the wrong things. Or you know what it is? It's like Professor X put in the wrong thing in the Powerpuff Girls shit, because when he made the Powerpuff Girls, he was supposed to put sugar, spice, and everything nice, and that was what Lisa was. And then Danny came along, and she spilled that chemical X in there,
and the mother was born,
and she made a mother, and it's like that was her problem. It's like, dang,
and because she really begins to clock T, because like immediately after the fight, you know, Lisa goes back to the room after she slays him. And Chiara follows because Chiara know her T just got clocked. So she's trying to go do some damage control. And I love how in the episode Lisa says, you know, I wanted to slam that door in that bitch's face, but I need her on my side. And, you know, Chiara comes in and she exposes, okay, well, I did know, but I was just hearing so many things and I was just so scared. I didn't know what to believe and da-da-da-da. She also later says in the week, I was reading that she wanted it to be a tie. She that's what she wanted all along, which is why she voted the other way. And she just wanted to test Gerry and just lying. You're lying. But what I love from Lisa is just like not in just that conversation. Like you see it throughout the week. She is speaking with her and Roddy as if she's still along with them.
Yep.
They wouldn't know shit at all, and she's plotting their eviction. So I really, really love this under the radar play that she's really developing, because we saw that week one. This is what we saw week one, literally, and it's bad.
Before she linked up with Eric, it really is a heart thing. I think with Lisa, if she gets involved emotionally, it takes her out of the game. And it's like we saw when she didn't know none of these bitches, she was here to play. Every diary room week one was iconic from her.
Yeah.
She was like, I don't give a fuck about this alliance. I don't give a fuck about what Josh saying. I clocked his T, but I'm not going to put him up because I'm here to play this game. I'm here to win. I'm here to eat it up. And she did really well week one. We gave her highest score week one. And then after that, she linked up with Eric and, you know, she got distracted. And then he went home and she was like, I'm here to win the game. All the way down to not voting his ass back in the game.
Girl, that was such a gag. Oh,
she's such a mother for that. I just love her. I just love her. We don't get people like her no more.
She was saying in archives that basically the reason why she does not want Eric to come back in, and we later see that she does not vote him in, but she says because he won't understand why she turned against Chiara and Roddy, and she doesn't feel like explaining it, bitch. So she's like, he can stay where he's at. Yeah, I think also she just wants to. Like, she doesn't want that distraction anymore. She understands like where she's at in the game now, and she wants to stay in this spot. And I love that because a lot of people, even in this position, would still go, "Let me get my man back."
Yeah, and not even first your man, but also second, like that's a guaranteed ally almost. And it's like she in a way took a risk. She took a risk to like continue to isolate, because what it does is it helps isolate Roddy and Chiara. It prevents him from trying to link back up with her, distract her, and linking back up with Roddy and Chiara and giving them another number. He was good at comps. He got second in the one he went home on. He could have came back and won HOH, similar to what happened with literally Amy. So it's like they have this drive, and the competition was literally who wants it the most, basically, this next HOH comp. It's like Eric probably would have won. So not only would he have came back, he probably would have won HOH, and he probably would have been like, everyone who evicted me got to be the nominees. And it's like
a whole new alliance.
And that would have been now. What I will say, which I was telling Lee, is low-key, Lisa would have made it to the end of this game regardless, because had that happened, she'd be great. Like, it's just them other people who wouldn't have been good. And then it didn't happen, and she still won. That's my mama a little bit. I'm sorry. She does. She's low-key eating it up. So Lisa also wins veto this week.
Like, week, Mama said, "I'm back in the game. I'm here."
Never stopped eating this week. It's like she woke up and she just turned into this.
And
it
never
was
went back to
insane.
sleep.
She never went back to sleep. It was insane. This was her week. She got to get the highest score now. I'm thinking about it. God damn. But anyways, she wins the veto. Josh tries to convince her to use it on Roddy. He literally breaks down crying to her, in tears, talking to her for hours about how she should just use it on Roddy. He just does all his Josh things. And then, like we talked about already, they did the flip-flop, and then they end up landing on to just evict Josh. So Josh gets evicted unanimously, and then throughout the week, they had all knew that the 4 evicted house guests had a chance to come back in the game. And this is when Julie tells us how, because they were saying they had a, like, I was confused because from my memory, they just voted, period. But actually, there was a little bit of, challenge beforehand, which was all some bullshit.
Wait, can we mention first, bitch? They really flew these bitches out.
Yo! On the island. Amy was in Mexico. She was
Lori was in Mexico too. Like, bitch, I want to get flued out.
And
I just really love this concept. I just wish it was something they kind of like still did. Like, why shove them up in a hotel? But I also did think, like, with these new age fans, girl, they probably go find them in Mexico somewhere. Hey, girl, when you get back in there, you better not trust such and such. But I just thought that was so camp because she had all these stories that she comes back into the house with. It's just so fun. It's really fun.
I agree. I wish they could just be camp again. Like, I feel like they lost that aspect around
this nerve and talent.
Yes, around like the BB16-ish era, because there were some camp things in like the 11. The whole 11 concept is very camp
era. It's like even like BB16
for
sure. It was like camp things here and there. I feel like 16 up, they wanted to do copy and paste, especially now.
Yep. Yes, and that was very annoying. I hope they get back to the camp stuff. I think they're dibbling and dabbling into creating Big Brother into something a little bit different. Even just casting Felicia is camp in its own, honestly. So thank God. But a part of me is like, you only did that because Sari needed a friend, or was T? Because if that's how they do, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get this next cast and none of them are over the age of 45.
I think that's what pisses me off to my core is that you have someone like Kaser casted, and how Kaser comes back 3 times and talk about how he's the only person in the house with this culture and that he doesn't have a lot of representation, that he wants to be representation for other people. So why do you keep bringing him back to tell this story? Why don't you just cast more of them? And especially when you have someone like Joseph, who is literally an alternate, was not even originally on the season, was an alternate, spoke about the same thing, is a fan favorite. Like, Kaser is one of the most loved house guests ever. Joseph is so loved. And you have someone like even like Derek X, who is so loved.
Yep.
And then you don't do it again? It doesn't make any sense. Like the Asian representation, South Asian, East Asian, is lacking and it's fucking horrible. Same with the Latin representation. They really say, okay, half black, half white, there's the diversity. Okay, some of the black people are gonna be mixed. And that's it.
And what pisses me awfully is we have done 2 Just 2? Damn, we are not deep in this Big Brother shit. We have done 2 cast reactions, and on both of them, I said one of these white people could have been replaced with another POC, like another Asian man or another South Asian man, whatever it might be, a Latino man. And last season, Luke got expelled for saying the N-word. He didn't even get to play the game. That could have been an Asian man or a Latino man who wasn't going to be racist. The season before that, Kyle literally started a race war. That could have been an Asian man or Latino man. It's like, y'all, it's literally in your face that you shouldn't get 4 of one archetype. You still get 4 white men, and in every season, one of the white men are problematic and terrible as humans. So it's like, not only is it not working, you're literally having to expel people and add extra weeks and add zombie lands. Like, it's not even working. Like, you're fucking your own show up by not getting another person of color. Stop. Like, what the fuck? They're so weird. But anyways, like, they should have knew from when it happened with Kyle, they should have been like, girl, let's not get 4 white. We don't need to do that again. And then they still did, and they only got 1 black man. He was problematic too. That's right. So anyways, Julie brings back the 4 first evicted house guests, and they all have to answer a question. And the question is, how much of the money would you be willing to give away? Lee, what would your answer be? How much of the prize money would you give away?
My ass when I got back in that house. My ass would not have got back in that house. I feel like maybe if I wanted to play the system, because it didn't sound like any of them played the system. It's like they were answering genuinely. If I was answering genuinely, it wouldn't be half. Okay, what Laura say? 50,000.
50,000. Like, girl,
maybe 100,000, but not half.
I thought about it, and I think I would have said 300,000, which is 50,000 more than half, because half is 250,000.
You would say 300 for what?
I think I would have said 300 because I would have been trying to play the system. My first thought would have been someone is going to say something higher than I'm thinking. So I need to go a little above and beyond. So I would have been, okay, what's more than half? 300,000. Because someone could, but I'm just going to try to bank that I'm saying one of the higher numbers. So I think I would have said 300,000 after thinking about it. And honestly, I'm willing to give up all the money. Am I? Yeah. Now I am. And at BB3 time, I don't know about that because I think a lot of them are there for like the cloud money, whatever. But right now, as a super fan, I would have said honestly, if I was on BB26 and that same thing happened, I would say you can have all the money, Julie. I don't give a fuck. Give it to charity, please. So there's that. And then we get the results. Lori said 50,000. I don't know why Lori said 50,000 because it's like,
I would have at least said 100, but honestly, I don't mind her saying 50. Like, genuinely, because I wasn't thinking that this was going to be them getting back in.
I thought they knew that, though. That's why I was like, do they know that this is a important?
I feel like you should assume that. But genuinely, when it first came up, I didn't think that. So maybe they also just didn't think that. I don't know. Because personally, when she said 50,000, I said, okay, that's good. When Tanya said half, I said half. Dumb. Amy did it. I said, okay, but we know Amy not the brightest. And then Erica, I said, girl, all these hoes up.
And they are, I do believe. So there's that. So anyways, Lori said 50,000. Everybody else said half. So when Julie brought them back, she was like, Lori, you're no longer in the running because.
Well, and she also made them sign contracts. Are you ready? Are you going to put that in writing? She said, we're putting this on the floor now.
Stupid. They had them sign contracts, and then she brought out the contracts, and she was like, look, Lori, your contract says you said $50,000. She's so stupid. They are so gimmicky. But anyways, so Lori was no longer in the running. So they had to break the tie.
That's fine.
The other question was, to break the tie, the other question was, because only 2 people can be allowed to be voted for. So the other tie was, how long would you eat PB&J? Now, I would have said the rest of the days. Lee, what you saying?
I
don't even eat PB&J.
But also, this would make me feel like maybe they did know. Because why else would you say it for the rest of the day? Or maybe you're just thinking, fuck it.
Because the full question is, how long are you willing to, how many days are you willing to eat peanut butter and jelly to get back in the house? It was literally to get back in the house, or at least she's posing it as a to get back in the house question. What are you willing to bank to get back in the house? So they knew, or they at least could assume. So I don't know why you wouldn't say every day.
I don't think I would have answered half. And so that would be my problem.
It's same.
Maybe what TBJ I would say the whole time. Because honestly,
get
realistically, what number can you say? 7? Like, girl, okay.
and Lori said like 27 days, which was very random. Not Lori, Tanya. Tanya said like 27 days was very random. But anyways, Eric and Amy put it on the floor. They both said you can take half the money and we don't ever want to eat people.
Let's say you said 300,000 with the money. They would just let you in?
I think the tiebreaker would have been between Tanya, Amy, and Eric, and I would have been in. Hopefully. Because they don't need to break my tie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you think they still would have?
Or it would still be top 2. They wanted a vote.
A vote. That's what I'm saying.
Because they gave them
paddles. It seemed like the reason why it went to the tiebreaker was because everyone said the same thing. So what if someone was just the highest? Would they say the top 2 people?
I think it was always top 2. So they had to find 2. So to get 2, they had to break that first tiebreaker. Yeah, because I feel like if Amy would have said 30 days and Tanya said 27, it would have just been a vote between Amy and Eric because Amy would have beat Tanya. So yeah, I think they wanted it to be a vote. So Amy and Eric end up being the last 2, and then other house.
When they told Amy and Eric what to say, they said we don't want Tanya and Lori back.
Oh,
we're good. We're good.
They low key could have. Because
I was also saying, how sucky is it to be the person going out the same day as the returnee? Like, I understand Josh wasn't sequestered, but they easily could have just asked him the question during his eviction. I'm happy they didn't. Well, no one would have voted his ass back in anyway.
Yeah.
But in general, it's so crazy that he wasn't a part of it. Like, them being sequestered doesn't change the fact, like, them doing this contract thing at all. Like, he could have been a part of it, but
he definitely could have. They've done this. They do that. They do this. When have they done this before? Let me think. They've done something like this before, where someone's getting evicted. Sam on BB21, the week that Cliff came back, it was right after Sam was evicted, or was it right after Cliff was evicted?
That was right after Cliff was evicted, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it was right after Cliff went home.
Okay, maybe it was right after Cliff went home, and they let Cliff play. So it's like they can do it. They just don't do it sometimes. I just feel like you definitely should just let everybody play. Like, if someone's getting evicted that week, you should just let them come back and play. But hey, we move. Kind of don't care with this one because Josh went home. I'm not gagging.
Yeah.
So anyways, the 7 house guests in the house, they all get to vote for which one of them to come back in the game. Everyone voted Amy except for Roddy and Chiara. Now, and Eric wasn't going to come back anyways. Even if Lisa didn't vote Amy, she still had the votes because it was 5.
When Marcellas put the paddle down,
literally,
he said, "You know my vote."
They said red paddle for Amy, black paddle for Roddy. He literally placed the black paddle on the ground.
They did in the BB6 too.
When Sarah was evicted, other producers had you know that did happen. I do remember that. That's so weird to me. But hey, we move. Mm-hmm. So boom. That's how the end.
I was going to say who came back. Girl, K-Sir, my man.
Damn, he got evicted early.
Right.
He's such a flop. He does that every season. Why does he do that every season?
It's so bad.
You know that nigga never made Gerry?
No. I thought he was going to maybe do it in an All-Star stream, but
fuck. Poor baby. So Amy comes back in the game. She eats that up. And honestly, the respect for Amy, for me, just really went up. I'm like, because, you know, a part of her rating, let me bring up the ratings. Because Amy gets another chance from the kingdom. Because we gave her a 1.
Right.
Both of them.
Light her back up. Light her back up.
I need to light her back up. I need to bring her back. Let me bring her back. Because we gave her a 1 initially. And I'm not saying, you know, she didn't deserve that 1. Because I do think she definitely did. But what I like about her having a second chance is because I really feel like this is an interesting concept. We've never had a rating where someone went home and then they came back, first of all. And then second of all, honestly, I feel like I want
her changing the 3. Oh, to move her.
I want her. Yes, I got it. Don't worry. I want her to come back in the game, and I want her to prove herself as somebody who doesn't deserve this one. I really want her to show me.
Definitely have to see it. I have to see it.
Lee, you don't think it's gonna happen? I'm gonna leave her 1 here though until she get another week in the house.
We need to see it. We definitely need to see it.
We need to see it.
Also, they have this thing called they were saying it throughout the archives this whole week. Operation Revolving Door. Basically, Chiara and Roddy started it because they don't want whoever comes back to stay in the game. They're saying it's unfair, so they want them evicted. But Danny rightfully clocks, no, they just want us to take out our number because if Eric comes back, they definitely fucking keep Eric, which is duh. So I don't think she's gonna go. Well, she ain't.
Child.
Too much.
Child, but yeah, so I'm excited what we'll give Amy next week because I think her overall rating will go up, and I think she'll just have a little bit more stuff that I can see from her. Hopefully, god damn, because she was doing so bad. But anyways, last week, I gotta do Josh, my bitch ass. Let me flip this back.
I'm glad you know
that I'm a bitch.
I always feel like this happens a lot. Like the women go home like back to back to back, and it's like, oh my god, all the women going home. What the fuck is happening? And then randomly you wake up,
and then it be even,
and it's back even. It's like, oh, yeah, what just happened? Okay. I think the fan base is so scared of having BB16 again, because I feel like is that not the only time that happened where like damn near every woman was out of the game back to back to back.
Literally, that's like the only time.
Like I feel like we're all
and I think BB14. No, not even. Yeah, I think Brittany was the only girl in like the top 6.
Danielle was there too. Jen made it pretty far.
No, not BB14. BB12 with Brittany. Brittany was like the only girl at the end with a bunch of boys.
I see that.
So maybe that, but it rarely happens. Please.
And we be scarred, bitch. 2 girls go home and they're all, hold on.
It's like literally a lot of the times it's like even or like even more girls. Like last season, it was 3 women and just Jag and Matt. Now, and then BB24,
and that'd be the problem. The problem is, regardless of who's running it, regardless who's the majority, it's always men in the goddamn end, and that is annoying. I hate when a woman runs the season and the man still wins. It's the most annoying thing.
Child, we hear them. Josh went home. It looks crazy because it seems like he only lasted 4 weeks since Amy came back, but he made it longer than he should have. No shade. Lee, what you giving him for his rating?
I thought he would have been out. This was a really, 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 really crazy game for Josh. Like I give him his 5s for going out swinging. You know, like he exposed the cartel alliance to Danielle. Told her all the members that was in it. He tried to use that angle to say they're all going to stick together. You need to keep me in this game. And Danielle, she kind of felt that a little bit. I was reading the archives that she kind of took that conversation, and that's when she went to Marcellas and said maybe we should use veto on Josh. You never know. She was very much considering it, and I think Danielle, she saw in him kind of what Nicole saw in a Will type thing, whereas like I can use him a little bit. Like, and Josh is. Actually, to be fair, pretty loyal to Danielle. He has not bass-mouthed her at all. And he bass-mouthed everybody. So I can see why she kind of wanted to use him, but girl, let him go. He out of the water. And then he also had a situation where he exposed to Marcellas that Marcellas would be the first person out of the game if veto wasn't used on him. But like that is an example of how his activeness gets him in trouble, because it's like, okay, the thing with Danielle kind of worked, but now you're doing this with Marcellas, and this kind of fucks him up. Marcellas gets really emotional, and he goes and he cries about it, which causes Chiara to get upset because more of her tea is getting clocked. She goes off on him. And, you know, throughout the week, they all are kind of just like ostracizing him a little bit. Like, in the archives, he's mainly just talking to himself, talking to the lizards, talking to Roddy. He had a conversation with Jason once or twice, and Danielle. But the overall spirit of the house, they were just done with him, and that's what we see in that blow up on the eviction episode. It's like they don't want him here anymore. And despite how active he is, it was always going to catch up to him. We always see this. We see this all the time. That's why, no shade, if there are any Victoria stands in the chat, I don't know why y'all was so gagged that she went home. And when she did, no player is going to win this game playing so crazily like that. And an example of a great player is even a Vanessa. All the way up to Final 3, did not win. Because you really can't play so fast and loose. It always catches up to you. And I'm not shocked that it happened to Josh. So I'm going to say... because the activeness really worked. The activeness really worked. And I gave Eric a 3. I'll give him the 4. Fuck it. Ooh. Because because this is one of the few times where like the activeness was really eating. It was eating a lot. It was eating. It got him pretty far. It couldn't even get him past this week, and maybe because 3.5.
He honestly shouldn't have even been taken out by Chiara, and it's
3.5. 3.5.
Okay, boom.
Because this is the week he could have stayed and he really didn't because people don't like him. So 3.5, but he could be a decent player if he wasn't an asshole, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, I was in between the 3.5 and the 4. I'm like everything you said, of course. I'm conflicted between like a part of me feels like yes, he was super chaotic and all of that, but a part of me is like, I mean, this was the second iteration of this show, so in a way, I'm kind of like maybe he gets a 0.5 excuse for that because bitch being chaotic and crazy in season BB 26 is insane. Because you've seen 27 seasons of the season. For Josh, I mean, there really wasn't a chaotic player last season. So he doesn't really have a precedent. He created the chaotic player. That's him. He is the origin because there really wasn't one. So it's like, in a way, I'm like, I mean, you should have did it, but I would be more mad if this was BB27. But it did catch up to him. And even though the activeness helped him a lot, it just hurt him in the end of the game, and that's why no player can ever really win like that. But I just really do like how much he played this game and how close to. I mean, there was a potential for him for them to flip the vote this week, and he could have stayed. And a part of it would have been him being active again, and that's what happened with him week after week in this game. And I really like that. I think I'm gonna give him the grace. I think I'll just give him the 4. I'll give him grace. 0.5 of grace because you're still not touching the 5 or nothing like that. But anyway, I'm over here over a 3.5 or 4. Anyways, we gave Chiara, or well, I gave Chiara a 2. You gave her a 1 last week.
It ain't moving, baby. Go ahead and copy paste.
Mine is moving.
Up.
Anyways, Chiara won first of all, Chiara voted out her closest ally, dumb. She won the HOH and nominated her 2 other closest allies who she just voted with, dumb as fuck. One of them is her showmance, who she just chose, dumb as fuck. And then lied to everybody else in the house about her vote, dumb as fuck. Got caught in her lies by Josh. Didn't really do much that could reconcile it other than lying to Lisa for longer, dumb as fuck. Lost Josh as an ally and Lisa as an ally. The only ally she really has is Roddy, and he doesn't even give a fuck about her like that. Dumb as hell. And then when they had to vote for somebody to come back in the game, Amy came back, and that's her worst enemy. This is a 0. Nothing good happened. Your worst enemy came back.
Gag it. Actually, go ahead and change mine. Here, you convinced me. Because everything you said, I agree with. So why not? I mean, it's really just so terrible. It's so terrible. Like, everyone that she believes she's working with does not like her and will choose someone else over her. And she did it to herself on top of everything.
Yep. Didn't take out nobody who could have came after her. Took out 2 people who are never nominating her, probably. Like, girl, what are you doing? What are you doing?
She could have at least made a move. Like, there was no move made this week.
Something. Nothing happened. Everything is stacked. If anything, they went backwards this week because Amy came in and she don't like your ass. Just stupid. Because imagine if Josh and Roddy were both still in this game and she took out Jason, Marcellas, or Danielle, totally different game. Anything could happen. Girl. Dumb as fuck. We move. 0. I was like, oh, nothing changed. What happened?
Gerry.
He was at the bottom as well. Gerry. Same thing every week, but it kind of gets worse and worse for me every week because the further we get into the game, the worse position he's in, especially because Amy came back. We saw this week there were conversations about who might be in the Final 4. Marcellas is like, his ideal Final 4 would be him, Jason, Danielle, and Gerry at the moment, of course. Yeah. But Amy coming back in, he's probably definitely not going to consider that anymore. It's probably just going to be Amy. So now he's not in that Final 4 plan. Danny said her Final 4 was Jason, Marcellas, herself, and Lisa. Lisa already eating her up, y'all. No shade. Yeah. And it's like, that's not Gerry included either. So he went from being 5th wheel to the Lisa, Jason, Marcellas, Danny thing to now being 6th wheel to the Lisa, Jason, Marcellas, Danny, Amy thing. And there's only 7 people in the house. So when are you going home? Like, you're going home soon, babe. And if Roddy wins HOH, well, we know who wins HOH, but if Roddy would have won HOH, he probably would have just targeted Gerry because Gerry's just the easiest person to target without getting blood on your hands. So it's like, you're coming up soon. Your time is, bitch, your time up.
Bitch, your
Why
time's
is you
up.
not clocking out?
Doing shit for TikTok.
This is really hip hop. So truly, and no one likes him
At all.
and honestly, Marcellas kind of dislikes him the most, and he's closest with Marcellas.
Literally, though, like it's every season we kind of have this person that the house trash is on, and this is Gerry. Like almost every archive conversation is them dragging him, calling him dirty, calling him nasty, saying they need to have an intervention. Marcellas specifically got increasingly annoyed with it, which is why, like you said, Amy coming back in. Oh, he's done with Gerry. Yep. He already feels like he doesn't need Gerry that much. So it's like he wavers on pawning him, taking him out, or keeping him. So it's like it's night and day, and that is the only person really considering him as anything other than being used. And at this point, Josh is now out. I think he could still skate by because of the Roddy Chiara relationship, but there's no way he's winning this game, like, or making it past. Like, I know he doesn't make it past the block of the 5, that's on 5, but it's like, duh.
No way. Like other than the only good thing he has going for him is that Roddy and Chiara are the next house targets. So he can maybe make it past that. He's won in HOH. He can maybe win that. So he has that sliver of hope.
Him as a player, I don't hate his intentions is bad. Like at the end of the day, like when Chiara made this deal with him this week, he was very open to it. Like he I'm assuming would have been loyal to it. He also voted to keep Roddy. Yeah. Chiara and Roddy spoke about not even wanting to target Gerry moving forward, which is good for him. If only he can get the people that he wants to work with on that type of time, he'd be great. And that's the main issue is that, you know, he goes to Danielle, swears his loyalty. He goes to Marcellas and swears his loyalty. They don't really give a fuck that much. Yep. They want to use them and not even that much anymore. And so I appreciate him for trying in that way. So I'm going to keep him at the 3.
I'm going to give him a 2.
This week.
Yeah. I'm going to give him a 2. I just feel like every week your time's up. Like his ticket.
Why is you not clocking out?
So next we have...
the mother of darkness.
Oh God. Lisa. This is y'all. I cannot not say mother. And it's crazy because what did we give her week 1? Because she went down. So we gave her a 7 week 1. And then around a 6 week 2.
Oh, she was just
going down in a 5 and in a 3. And then she said, hold on. Reality.
I'm not clocking out.
She said, hold on. She said, wait right there. This is my mama. She did everything right this week because after she stayed by the sliver of a hair, but I'll give it to her. After she stayed, she was immediately told the information about who voted her out. She immediately clocked that Chiara was the one who voted her out, and then she immediately played in Chiara and Roddy's face and still pretended to work with them, of course. All of that is good. There's an official alliance, named alliance, created with her, Danny, and Marcellas, the Charlie's Angels. So they have a whole official named alliance together. After she was, like, Lisa is the only bitch who's been in an official named alliance all season because she was in the cartel, and then now she's in the Charlie's Angels. I ain't seen no other person actually have a named alliance. So she's already locked in with them. She's been talking game with them all week. And now Danielle is already saying, just this week, she wants her in her final 4. Bitch, it's over. She won the veto, ate it up. She's eating Chiara and Roddy up, like I said. She didn't vote back Eric. I think probably a game-winning move. Not that he was going to come back, but it's like a very intelligent move. She clearly has her strategic chops. This is an amazing week for her. I'm going to give her the 8.
Period.
Give her the 8.
I agree with 8.
Because she ate. I'm going to give her 8 because she ate. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
For everything, single thing you're saying. And also, it's just like she is in the center of this game and she's maintaining it so well. You know, she was thrown into the position, but the way she's working within it, like, I can see why she won. And it's so interesting watching these previous seasons like this because you're all like, we did it with Dr. Will and now we're doing it with Lisa. It's like, at first, it's like, how does this person win? But we're really seeing it. And with Lisa, it's coming strong a little bit. Like, I didn't expect to get whiplash like this, but she is doing so good. She is well ingratiated on both sides of the house. No one wants to target her. No one wants to nominate her. No one wants to take her out of this game. Like, almost being sent home was the best thing for her because her staying really catapulted her game. And she's such an intelligent person that she is able to capitalize on it in the correct way. Mother.
You know what? And I want to speak specifically like on the vote. We already talked about it, but I genuinely think Roddy staying was best of all the people voting for her game. everybody else probably should have evicted Roddy, other than maybe Jason. But it's like Marcellas, Danny, and Gerry should have probably evicted Roddy. It's not necessarily good for their game for him to be there. Now they have to worry about taking him out and essentially waste a week on taking out Roddy. If Roddy goes home here, it's like you could just take out Lisa in the spot that Roddy goes home because she wins the damn game. So it's like now there's an extra week in the game that they have to all hone in and focus on taking out this target who's probably never going to target Lisa, who Josh was the only one who was really targeting Lisa. It's like this was
and she knew that. She said he has to go.
And he did.
Lisa. So that's mother.
Next is Roddy. Lee, how you feeling about Roddy?
Roddy, I mean, I think I said earlier, I spoke about it a little bit already. Like the fact that his showman is the HOH, she nominated him next to a person that he worked hard to protect in this game. He's all about having these shields, but then this week where your side has the power, you don't use that to forward your game at all. I just feel like this is a huge mistake and blunder on him as a player. And it probably leads to the downfall of his game. Like I think he had a chance to bounce back. He really did. And this week was it was supposed to go like back and forth. This was supposed to be the hit back, and he didn't take it. And it's because he genuinely does not want to target these people. He thinks he has Jason. Yep. He does not. He thinks Danielle and Marcellas are somehow like him so much that they won't go after him. He thinks Gerry is on his side. And there's only 8 people left in the game now at this point, now that Amy came back. So it's like, I don't know who he expects to be targeted, but I mean, you have to realize at some point that you're the biggest target in the game. And I like that he tries to do certain work to secure himself. Like, he does have these personal conversations that kind of creep into game. Like, that's how he used them to swear their loyalty to him beginning of this week to make sure they wouldn't vote against him. Like, that was so good on him. But it's just like a top-tier player would have made sure Marcellas, Danielle, or Jason Marcellas or Danielle went home this week.
Yeah,
that Marcellas or Danielle should have went home this week. But we also said his first HOH week where he had Marcellas on the block, and that's what's crazy. Now his HOH is null and void
because both of them are here,
and they're both here. And Josh is out. You're the person who was loyal to him. Josh is leaving, saying, "I want Roddy to win this game." Terrible week all around. I'm gonna give him the 3.
Yeah, honestly, I brought this 0.
And they're also talking about targeting him
for Chiara. Yeah, like he's damn near the next target. I want to give Roddy a 0, I really do, but I can't because he really does kill it sometimes. Because the main reason he doesn't go home when, like I just said, all of them probably should have evicted him is because of himself, because he ate it up. He made them swear their loyalty to him before he was even nominated, secured the votes, and then they didn't waver on it. They did waver. They didn't flip on it when they should have. It was right in their face. He's the biggest target. He should go home. So that's obviously good gameplay. Like you said, he does have these great one-on-one conversations with them. He talks to them all the time, all of these positives and pros. So I'll give him that as well. He really should go home next week. Now, I don't particularly fully remember who goes home, but we're going to see if it's him, because if it's not him, Lucas eats that up. Because he should just be the next person out. But it's just clear that he has the chops. Like, he is one of the better players this season. So I'm going to give him the 3 as well. Because he should have been going the fuck home. Your closest ally put you up and no one likes you or her, and you still stayed. He got something going for him. Next is Jason. Now, he's been, because Marcellas done took his place in the top 2 already. Yeah. And now, Lisa taking his place in the top 3, because I'm probably not gonna give him that good of a rating, because he, because last week I said he probably should have kept Eric, and I still stand by that. I feel like he probably should have kept Eric, because if he kept Eric actually would have stayed, first of all. And then this week, of course, he's stuck by keeping Roddy, and I really like that, because that was kind of the same concept I was saying about Eric, but it just didn't seem like he had the intention that I wanted him to have. I wanted him to feel like I should keep Roddy or Eric or whatever as long as possible, but I kind of have the forethought of knowing that he doesn't do that. And then even in the moment, it just doesn't feel like that's what he wants. It just feels like he's just trying to stay as loyal as possible for now. But whenever the time comes that Danny or Marcellas and them want Roddy to go, he's going to let that happen. He was even going to let it happen this week. He just said, I don't want to be in a convo. And it's like, that's not good for your game, because basically if they decided for Roddy to go, you would have just been like, okay, I'm not doing it, but y'all can vote him out. And it's like, I don't like that, because I feel like his intention should be to make sure he's in the Lisa position, in the position where Roddy and Chiara think I got them over here, and then everyone else think I got them over here. And I think he's positioning himself in that way by accident, in a way, like just by naturally not wanting to take people out. But if they voted out Roddy, he wouldn't be in that position. He was willing to lose his position, and he didn't really care. And I don't like that part, but he is in a really good position, and he is still in a great standing, and no one's talking about targeting him. A lot of people want him in the end game. I don't think he's going to be targeted anytime soon. So there's still so many great qualities about his position. I'm just not loving his decision making and activeness necessarily, because it's like you're not necessarily guaranteed a final two the way that it might seem, because Amy just came back in the house. Lisa is this wild card that you don't have a relationship with. She's now ingrained in this gameplay that you're not even a part of. So you and Danny can only do so much. So it's like, I'm just like, so I'm going to keep him at the 6.5.
Yeah. And we're also moving to a point where, like, even if that was the game they were playing where Jason is bringing information from the other side, I mean, there is no other side anymore. The majority of the house is the structure that Danielle has been running from the beginning of the game, and she's been running it with Marcellas and now Lisa as an add-on. And like, he has been there, but I feel like more so benefiting, which is definitely his great quality. It's so hard for overly social players like Jason when it comes to rating them as a player, because a lot of the good things in the game that are keeping him safe are just his qualities as a person. Like, I don't think he's actively making people like him and making people underestimate him to where they don't want to target him. They just underestimate him and like him because he's this nice, sweet virgin boy that isn't going to do anything. Like, Danielle literally says she wanted him to be her person because she feels like he's going to stick to his morals and his word, and that's because he was a virgin and a Christian. It's like he could have been lying and you would have never even known, but he's not lying, and that's the thing. So it's like, it's hard because it's like that's just natural attributes. And when we talk about the game, we're talking about how he's not active. Like, he was fully out of this week, and I feel like that is what leads to him eventually not being in final two. He could have a relationship with Lisa. Him and Lisa could be best friends. They're not. He doesn't really talk to her like that. Like, and then he had a relationship with Marcellas, but he's not Marcellas' closest ally. Like, his closest real ally is Danielle, and he maintains good relationships with everyone else, which is definitely good enough. And I think because it's Jason and his archetype would probably even work in a modern day season, but grasping the win, I don't know if he would be able to do that, especially if he plays at this level every single time. Like, I think there are some possibilities where he would, because I feel like Jason is a type of player that almost always is in the end game, but you have to do certain dealings and things to get in those final two chairs, and it feels like he's just not on that type of timing, which is why I think eventually this season he does not end up there, even though he's so liked by everyone. This is a player throughout this entire season that has been loved by everyone. No one is mentioning targeting, and he still does not sit in the final two to win. Yeah,
he should win this game
because he's not an active player in that way. He is really just benefiting, and I will say, because he actively chose to sit out this week, I'm gonna give him the 6.
And this is my thing. Like, honestly, I feel like what I notice about Game Talk with Jason is the reason this kind of goes into why I think he doesn't have a relationship with Lisa. Jason bonds with people who talk to him first. Roddy is the one who approached him about joining this group, and then him and Roddy started having conversations. Danny approached him about working together, and then they started having conversations. Marcellas is the one who kind of goes out of his way to talk to Jason. Lisa doesn't really go out of her way to talk to Jason, and Jason and Lisa don't really have a bond. And it's like, is it more so that you're just not active in general? Because a lot of these other people who you have bonds with is because they kind of want to use you. Honestly, like, they all are actively, Roddy, Marcellas, and Danny are actively.
But see, that's the thing, and that's the thing. It's like, it's different though, because when they talk about Josh and Gerry using them, they want to use them. Like, he could be a hammer. You're not a person. They want to work working with Jason.
But it's just like Tyler, because week 1 of BB20, both alliances are coming to Tyler as like, we could definitely bring him in and work with him. But it's like, Tyler didn't go to none of them bitches. They just went to him. They just wanted to work with him. And that's how kind of what happens with Tyler's game. People just want to work with him. They feel like he's lackadaisical enough, or like not involved in the game enough to where they can trust him and they can, work with him in a way that can use them. Very similar. I just feel like that's my issue with both of their games. It's like, when are you going to be the one coming to someone else about alliances? When are you going to be the one who's causing this other thing to happen? Not that it was somebody else's idea and then you went along with it or you encouraged it, because encouraging is a good gameplay. Like if it's working for you and you go along with it, that is good. But it's like you have to do something yourself to win this game. Every winner of this game has done something themselves and they've decided to do, and they've pushed that narrative, period, down to Jordan Lloyd. Whether it works or not, she did shit too. She was like, we got to flip these votes. So it's like, if everybody, like, I don't know, to be a winner, you got to have some oomph to you. Put a little in it. And Jason don't got the So 6.56. Marcellas. That's my man. God damn. This nigga is damn near the most active person in the fucking house. I love it. What I really like is there's a lot of situations where there's a dual, either two people who are really moving the game forward or three people or whatever. And sometimes one of them takes over the other person. And in this situation, you would think it's Danny and Marcellas. But what I love about Marcellas is Danny starts building a relationship with Lisa, and Marcellas does too. Because there's conversations that he have without Danny in the room with Lisa. And he's telling Lisa more information. And he's like, look, honestly, I didn't even think Danny was going to tell you about that vote because da-da-da-da-da. So it's like he does his own personal work when it comes to the people who needs to be working with him in the game. And I really, really love that. He has his own relationship with Roddy. Roddy don't want to nominate him because his own relationship with Roddy. He's the one who runs Gerry. Danny don't run Gerry. And that's what it's like. Ooh. And what I was saying earlier, because he doesn't convince Danielle or nothing. No shade. But what I was saying earlier, what I was trying to say earlier was what I like about Marcellas is he's not just gonna not get what his opinion matters. Yeah. And what a lot of times what you see with these dominant players like Nicole from last season, like Danielle, like Tiffany Mitchell, is that what anybody else wants doesn't matter at the end of the day. But what I like about Marcellas is what he wants does matter. It does. When he said, you're not using the veto on my HOH, Danielle, and even though he considered it, she didn't use the veto on his HOH, whether she's Mother Danielle or not. And I really love that about him. He's very stern with what he wants, and he has an opinion, and it's going to do what's beneficial for his game. He's one of the main reasons that Gerry didn't get taken out, because he keeps saying, we should probably use him a little longer, y'all. I know y'all don't like him, but we should probably use him a little longer. It's like so many good qualities. I really, really love this. And this week is really good for him because, first of all, Roddy staying is, in my opinion, good for Marcellas as well a little bit, because Roddy does like Marcellas a lot. Even though he know he a target. That's the issue. But Amy coming back is even better. Amy ain't loyal to nobody but Marcellas. And that's another number. He has two loyal soldiers, Gerry and Amy. And he has the named alliance with Lisa and Danielle. And he has the alliance with Jason and Danielle. And he has a good relationship with Chiara and a good relationship with Roddy. This nigga's golden. That nigga is golden. I gave him a
really fucks himself up. We'll get there.
We'll get there. Damn, I want to give him the A2. God damn it. I'm not, because I really do feel like I don't know. I don't know about the Roddy Josh situation, because both of them for Marcellas's game, I feel like low-key either of them could win.
I like Josh going. Josh has mentioned Marcellas's
name a lot more. That's why I'm like, ooh, because this wasn't good for Dan. Well, not that it wasn't good, but Danny was the main one who needed Roddy out because she got her eye on him. But even her, she's good. I think I'm going to give him... Oh! Fuck. What's some cons? Let me think of a con.
I feel like for me, the only con was... because he is... he has moments where he does prioritize Gerry, but then like towards the end of this week, on the archive, it's a lot of trashing Gerry and talking shit about him, and that kind of pushes that people to also trash him and talk like Marcellas initiates a lot of those conversations, and I really just don't like that from him. I get scared that like he may think too emotionally sometimes about the game, and I think that would lead to that eventual veto decision weeks coming up, because he wavers between being this game bot and being this very personable person that cares about people, and I feel like that is kind of the issue, because even when it comes to like faking it in the house, it's like he's not going to give that, like, which is why Josh was kind of against Marcellas, because Josh was very aware that Marcellas ain't like him, and he made that known. But I mean, currently,
I'll give him the 7.5, man.
Yeah, I agree with the 7.5, everything you said. Like, especially on top of that, Amy coming back, he's in the majority alliances, he's in multiple alliances, and because like it'll be different if Roddy and Chiara were like, oh my god, like we have to get Marcellas out. Yeah, I'd be like, okay, Marcellas can go. Marcellas can be a little bit lower, but they're not even saying that. He has just as much chance of staying over Danielle or Lisa, or especially Gerry and Amy. Now that she's back, he would stay next to Amy again. Yeah. So that's another good thing. His buffer's back, literally. Yep. So yeah, I agree with 7.5. Like, he's doing amazing. Like, it sucks. It sucks. We'll get there, but it sucks. It sucks that he does what he do. Because he could have won. He could have won.
He really could have. And I think that's probably why they do what they do. We're going to get there. How do you feel about the queen?
Mother. Let's get the con out of the way, because it's not going to be too much, okay? The only thing I hated was the fact that she had been saying she wants Roddy out. This was the week. He's on the block. You can take the shot. Chiara can't play next week. She's a sitting duck. Go ahead and take Roddy out. Amy still comes back. Josh is an ally for her. Josh is not winning. Like, not even on some Dr. Will. He gonna get there and win. Josh is not winning this motherfucking game. Use him for everything he got. You know, isolate Chiara from her man. Still use Lisa. You have Jason. You have Marcellas. Amy still comes back. It's like, I think that she would still be in a great position. Like, personally, I don't think her position shifts that much.
Yeah.
Same. And once again, because Roddy is not looking at her. Roddy and Chiara has had conversations recently about how they don't want to go after Danielle and Jason because they feel like they have Danielle and Jason. So she is good at making people feel like she can work with them. Like, she is someone who has relationships with everyone in this game, similar to Marcellas. And she's always pushing her agenda. But this week she was pushing it, and it didn't go through. And I really hate that for her a little bit. But at the same time, like I said, she still maintains a great position because of her work. She is in the middle of this game, and it's similar to Lisa, but Lisa is slightly benefiting from other people's move when she got into that position, whereas I feel like Danielle worked for it. Like, she has relationships with those other people. She has relationships with the people that she has. She now is the majority in the house. Like, she has been working with her side and just slowly building the numbers and building a rapport to be able to be where they are in this game. And she's at the head of it. Like, I'm pretty sure wherever moving forward, like, what she wants, she gets, most likely. So definitely, I'm gonna give my mama the 8. Like I said, I'm just gonna keep moving her up and keep moving her up and keep moving her up because she deserves her 10s. I just love how she leads this game with such an iron fist. She's always thinking. She's always planning things out. Like, the fact that the vote even wavered is because she's a thinker. She is thinking out every possibility. A part of me feels like she just would have been slightly better if she kept Josh. But if the end goal is still to take Lisa as far as she did, then that's the main mistake. It is not about this vote. It's about how far she takes Lisa. Yeah, and that's the problem.
That's why I'm gonna give her the 7.5, because I'm not understanding, because like I said, she said this week that she wants the Final Four to already include Lisa, and it sucks because I have the knowledge. So in the moment, I probably wouldn't have been as low about it. But it's hard to ignore that. It's like, a part of me just doesn't understand it. I feel like it's very quick for her to want Lisa in the Final Four.
I agree, honestly.
Already. It's like, it's kind of like, damn, already? Like, and it just, Lisa doesn't seem like someone who, to me, Lisa seems like a threat. I don't necessarily know why you would want someone who hasn't really pissed anybody off, had a bunch of allies in the game, was clearly very likable early on.
And maybe they're not seeing Lisa in that way. I think Lisa is very underestimated because when she was checking out of the game with Eric, she wasn't talking to people as much. Like, we see a lot. They have a lot of conversations about this on the archives about how Lisa does not open up. So no one really knows much about Lisa. So I feel like she also underestimated her. And I also remember we were saying in the earlier podcast, like, all of her alliances in the jury. Well, bitch, they turned on her. Yeah. So maybe I can see how I'm gonna defend my mama. I'm gonna defend my mama. I can see how Danielle is like, I mean, they're not gonna respect her as a player. I don't even respect her as a player.
Yeah, that's what it is. And then
Danielle knows Lisa's only here because of her.
Yeah, literally. And then a part of me feels like I'm not gonna lie. A part of me is scared of Marcellas for her, because they're the two heads, and she has Jason, but other than Jason, Marcellas has everybody else in the majority. He has Gerry. He has Amy, who's now coming back. And he has a connection with Jason. And him and his relationship with Lisa is not equal to hers as Lisa, but it's so new for both of them that I feel like I can't say that Danielle just has Lisa at this moment. So it's like, in my opinion, he has a little bit more pull. I think
so, they still had the girls thing. I'm gonna defend. Who am I defend, mama?
But I'm talking about with the majority alliance, because Chiara isn't in the majority alliance. So within the majority alliance, it's like she has Jason and Lisa, And in my opinion, he has Gerry and Amy. But since Lisa is so new to this new world, like, yes, they had the Girls Alliance. Yes, she's closer to Danny. I just feel like it's possible for Marcellas to put in work with Lisa, and Lisa still won. I don't trust where Lisa's at right now. Lisa is an open, what's it called? Like a free agent in my mind. Even though she did have that thing with Danny. It's like, at this moment, Lisa's a free agent. Her game got busted open, bend over, put it back in it. So I'm like, ugh. So that's one thing. But then also the vote, it's like, I don't think it's bad that Roddy stayed necessarily. I think it's just more bad that Josh went, because of all the people in the house, Josh would always go to Danny for her to be his savior. So I do think he would have defaulted back to her. So I don't love that as much as I love it for Lisa and Marcellas a little bit, but she still wasn't what with him. Period. So, of course, we have Legends at the motherfucking top. Top 3, Jason done got pushed down. Not this is backwards.
Right. I saw Chiara. I said, what?
Yuck. Top 3, right. Jason done got pushed down. Top 3 is Lisa, Danielle, not the final 2.
The real secret duo.
Wait, by week 5 on last season, wasn't Will and Nicole top 2?
Let me look.
Because that would be T. Because I know week 3 Will wasn't that high, and I think week 4 he was creeping up, but I don't think he made it to the top 2. But with week 5, the top 2 players are Lisa and Danielle, the literal final 2. Marcellas is 3rd, Jason is 4th, and people give him all that credit, no shade. And then we got a bunch of flops because Roddy, Gerry, Amy, and Chiara all have low scores. Not Amy above Chiara.
Week 5 they were top 2. Nicole and
Will. Ain't that T?
Let me make sure. Week 4, it was not them. So week 5.
Wow. So week 5 is the week that you really get to know who going. Yeah, this is the first time it's happened. Wow. So week 5, you heard it here, y'all. Week 5 in the game, you gonna know who the top 2 is. They gonna lock me. It might be different in new seasons because new seasons is probably like around jury type stuff, and jury is like, oh wait, jury's like week 5, isn't it?
Around 5, yeah.
Yeah. So girl, look out for who eating it up around week 5. Okay. Thank you. Now last season that was not Jag. He was nominated. I want to say.
Yeah.
So maybe not, but back in the day, it was Eden. So great. I think this is great ranking. Honestly, very accurate. Even Amy above Chiara.
Honestly,
truly, child. So we'll be back Thursday to discuss week 6 of Big Brother 3, and then of course we'll be back next week on Tuesday and then Thursday again, and then the week after that on Tuesday and Thursday again, and then we'll be done. We're creeping up on Big Brother 26, y'all, and y'all know the Big Brother coverage is always going to be eating, so definitely get your eyes peeled for the Big Brother US content because there's going to be some coming, and then of course we're going to be covering the entirety of Big Brother 26, so get into it or whatever, period. We're also covering a lot of other shows.
What
you're excited?
Julie say everything is not what it is.
We're getting hints at the themes, y'all. It's giving a little bit of AI.
Let's talk about AI. I got so many songs, bitch.
It's giving a little bit of AI. So we're going to definitely get into that. We're also covering a bunch of other shows. The challenge finale is tomorrow, so tune in live.
Oh, finally.
Thank God. To cover the challenge finale, and then we're also covering the last 2 episodes of The GOAT, so get into those. And then we're also still in the middle of our coverages for RuPaul's Drag Race and for Total Drama Island, so definitely get into those. We will be covering The Mole. The Mole on Netflix comes out this week, I believe. And
is it this week?
I lied.
Girl, I got scared.
Next week. So we will be covering The Mole next week as well. And then also, is that it?
What else, girl?
I hope.
Yeah.
Okay. No, also, we will be covering Claim to Fame coming out early July, so that's coming up as well. So we definitely have some shit still coming for you, so definitely tune into all of the rest of the coverage or whatever. Period. And I think that's all, Lee.
I think that's it, girl.
Hopefully, because fuck. Who gonna be covering all them there? So, anyways, thank y'all for keeping it real with the kingdom. We out,
bitch.
Period.